Hi, this is Doug Manch, and you're listening to Into the Night, a Moon Knight podcast.
Yes, welcome back, Loony listeners. You are listening to Into the Night, the final episode for 2019. This is episode 127, and as you can hear, we've got a bit of Auld Lang Syne playing in the background. We're hurtling towards the new year, and you are with your two high priests of Khonshu, one of them being myself, Ray, and, of course, Khonshu. Khonshu, hello.
Hello, I am here.
Yes.
Episode 127, the most well-numbered episode of all.
Oh, such a memorable number, 127, you know, it just fits perfectly to the end of the year. No, I was thinking about that the other day, Connor, and I thought, because we started, a couple of years ago, but we started in August, I think, so hence the weird number now. So we've had 2 full years plus... 4 months? So we've been around for, about 2 years and 4 months. So it's a pretty nice long stint.
Yeah, bloody hell.
I think I got it wrong. Maybe it's one... can't remember. Hang on. 2008, 2019. Yeah, 2 years. Yeah, 2 years, 4 months. Yeah, for a minute there I thought it was only 1.5 years. It's so quick. So quick. But anyway, Loonies, we are here. The final episode of this year. What we're going to do, it's a bit of a yearbook for Into the Night. We are going to look at, how Mooney has travelled throughout 2019. I guess we're just going to discuss kind of how successful and, whether you were satisfied or not, that was enough Mooney exposure for this year. We'll also then have a look at, I guess, just a little reflection of where we've kind of progressed as a podcast, what we've managed to do this year, and kind of looking ahead, and just then finally a cap off to a big thanks to all the loonies out there. So this should be a fun one, Connor. Nothing to review except for the whole year.
Well, which is a fairly decent task if you think about it.
Yeah, but before we get into any of that, obviously happy holidays, happy festive season to everyone. By the time this comes out, we're well past Christmas, but we are heading towards New Year's. Connor, how was a Christmas break for you? Anything exciting?
Mate, I'm loving it. It has been nice and quiet, which is what I've needed for the last little while. It's just, kicking back with the fam. What about yourself?
Fantastic. Yeah, pretty much the same, kind of the fam thing. Having lots of fun with little Finn and his cousins up from Melbourne, so little my Elle, she's a good, what is she, 8-9 months younger than Finn, so
wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. He's kind of, the bigger one of the two. A lot of fun just spending time with the fam as well. Anything of note, Connor, can you say that you may have gotten yourself or someone's gotten you comic-wise or pop culture-wise?
No, pretty light comic-wise this year. I think just... a decent bottle of something good and all the rest of it.
Hold the phone there, Connor. You got a nice.
What
bottle
are holidays for? That's all you're saying.
Fantastic.
That's all I'm saying.
That's fantastic. I mean, that's right. The holidays is good for a tipple. I must say, I am enjoying a tipple right now as we record this podcast. It's a great time to to wet the old vocal cords. Anyway, great stuff. Also, I guess. Connor, any chance of reading anything of note lately? Or, we kind of just inject a little bit of this of reading, watching and listening. Anything of note that you'd like to shout out?
Not recently. My free time starts basically tomorrow. My real free time, and I've got a massive bucket list of comics to get into.
Yes.
Blimey. caught up on the latest bit of Mooney. I've been away for all the big old Serpent War issues.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
so you
now I've
haven't
got a bunch of graphic...
Yeah, you haven't read that yet?
No, I just read those this afternoon. I got a whole bunch of graphic novels picked up, ready to go for the holidays that I've missed out on, a big bucket list.
Fantastic. What did you think of Serpent War, by the way?
Look, I still haven't had time to listen to your, I imagine, excellent review with our lovely guest, but look, I can't say I'm too big a fan of it. I think I think it's a good enough story in its own right. I just don't think without Mooney that I probably would have picked the event up at all, and I think just for that reason it's just not something that I'm totally digging, I think would be the fairest way to say.
Oh, look, that's, I think, a very fair thing to say. Without Mooney there, you'd kind of wonder if you would pick it up exactly as you say. And I'm kind of seeing it. I'm getting ghosts of Contagion, Connor, a little. You know what I mean? With these miniseries, when nothing too much is at stake. It's a lot of fun to see Mooney in it, but there's not much. Anyway, I mean, I am enjoying it. I enjoyed the second issue a lot more than the first. And we'll see where it goes. And there's only a couple more issues for it. It's a fun little jaunt, if anything. I've just been reading. I've been going through my Epic collections. Spider-Man, the Goblin's Last Stand. I think that's the Epic.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, it's the Epic collection with that issue of Gwen Stacy and the Green Goblin. So very, very exciting. I haven't come up to that issue yet. I've read the introduction of the Gibbon. Have you seen the Gibbon, Connor? Very cool character. He popped up in Nick Spencer's later run in Hunted of the Amazing Spider-Man.
Okay.
He had a very tragic kind of one-shot, one issue there where basically, well, spoilers, he dies in it. But a very sad story. It's actually one of the best Spider-Man issues that Spencer has written, at least. So,
oh, nice. Okay.
So good to see the origin of the Gibbon, so that's been good reading. Anyway, Loonies, let's get to it. There's only, I don't even know if this is news, kind of bit of white noise. Does this qualify? I'm not sure.
It's got the internet abuzz at least, so.
So what do we have?
We have, I don't even know where this, I think you have the source there of where it originated, but apparently Daniel Radcliffe is in some sort of running to be Moon Knight for our TV show that is apparently flying ahead, going to be filming in the UK.
Oh, that's
so there's definitely a lot of moves happening there.
That's right. And actually a little shout out to Loony Raymond Strong. I think he dropped it in our Facebook group. I don't know where it originated myself as well, Connor. I trawled just a few moments before we went on air, and there were numerous articles on this, so I just picked one. That will be in our show notes. But yeah, Daniel Radcliffe, people know him most notably as Harry Potter from the Harry Potter series, movies. Thoughts, Connor? What do you think of this?
I mean, I couldn't really imagine it. I think I'm still more of a Shia LaBeouf man myself. I kind of like that casting, but I think this one is possibly just as out of left field. So, I mean, what a way. I think Daniel Radcliffe is really just kind of doing what he wants, appearing in a bunch of crazy different indie films and the like. So I could see him just jumping aboard Moon Knight, and there is that one image of him in slippers going akimbo that's been running around the internet. So maybe he's just crazy enough to do it.
Yeah, I think he's really trying to distance himself from his iconic role, which, fair enough. I mean, if you want to continue your career, and his career arguably kind of peaked early when he was young, he's still got plenty of good years behind him, so ahead of him, sorry. So he, I wouldn't blame him for trying to kind of try to distance himself and do these indie things. A role in the Kevin Feige MCU TV would be pretty cool for him. I mean, any gig for Marvel would be good. Something different, I don't know. His physicality, to me, he doesn't have it, but having said that, I've learned along the way that you've kind of got to let that go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but there's always something at the back of my mind, kind of. You've got we had a brilliant performance by John Bernthal as the Punisher, not typically physically representative of Punisher in comics, and fair enough, who can be? He's just a big, bulky, stocky dude. But if you look at Thor, for instance, and Spider-Man, the actors that represent them, so currently they pretty much fit the bill. Right, you have a lithe, kind of quite agile Tom Holland as Spider-Man, and you have Chris Hemsworth kind of really bulked up as Thor. The same, I think, can be said for Moon Knight as well. One of the main things I always remember him for being is a heavyweight boxer. So he's a big fella. You know what I mean? Over 200 pounds. I think he's 6'2", 6'3". So he's pretty big. Anyway, I don't know whether we need to let that go when they cast whoever they cast. I'd like to see him as an imposing figure because he's kind of meant to be, feared. That's his whole thing, isn't it? Being in white. So I think he'd need that presence.
Well, you think about how much Kumail Nanjiani is just bulked up for the Eternals. You never know. Some of these lads, some of these boys.
Yeah, I've heard also. Just been following Simu Liu on Twitter. Some people will know him as he's the upcoming Shang-Chi in the Shang-Chi movie. He apparently tweeted something his dad said to him. Are you on steroids, son? Because I think he's bulked up as well. He hasn't posted any photos. He's always been a very athletic, figure. So it'd be very interesting to see him when he's finally revealed. But he's been working hard. But yeah, I don't know. Connor, would you be happy to see someone under 5 foot, quite slight build, represented as Moon Knight?
Look, I wouldn't really know, but all I can say is the casting director for the MCU has never steered us wrong so far. Mm-hmm. So I think if they're thinking it, if they think Mr. Under 5 foot can be imposing, then I'm more than happy to trust him.
Well, I hope he isn't under 5 foot. Jeez, we're talking Wolverine level. If he's Puck. Look, I guess at the end of the day, I'll be happy to see Moon Knight on screen. We all know he's coming. And that's one of the big things for 2020. Kind of, we'll get a lot more news as to casting, writers, potential plots and stuff. It'd be very exciting to hear. Right, well, that's kind of the only news in this end of year, this portion of the year. Understandably so, things are quieting down, I'm assuming, across the board. Next, Connor, look, I just wanted to do a big, huge spectacle. This is our end of year episode, and before anything, I just wanted to thank, pretty much all of the Loonies that have contributed to the show. I think they've been absolutely remarkable, and again, I reiterate. I'm not saying that if you don't contribute, you're any lesser. I mean, we love all the Loonies, we love our community, but it has been so special to include so many Loonies this year in all our episodes or our serials. So first of all, of course, the two high priests, Khonshu and Rebecca, a huge thank you. You guys have carried the baton as well a few times during the year when I've gone missing. And always a pleasure to talk to and discuss stuff. I know life chops and changes along the way. Things get busy and other things pop up. But it's very much appreciated. My good high priest Connor and Rebecca, who's not here with us, but a big shout out to Rebecca too.
Yeah, well, thank you first of all. I know I've got to speak for myself as well that I've been a bit more absent this year than probably the last few. I've been run ragged, and now at the last sort of quarter of the year become sick in a whole bunch of different unfortunate ways that have left me away from the podcast. But I think this podcast has never been in better company than this year. All the guests we've had, not just filling in for me, but being their own incredible, outstanding hosts in their own right.
Mm-hmm.
So, and, you know, quite literally hosting the show when neither of us have been here.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. So, I mean, they've done an absolute terrific job. We'll get to it as well a bit later on with the ITK reflections, but they've also jumped in, you know, with two hands for all these activities that we've brought up for the ITK community, such as the Fantasy Comic League, such as the serial as well. So it's really encouraging, and it's fantastic to see. And you know, let's keep on building on that. You know, we've got a TV show coming up soon. We're going to be all abuzz with it, and it's just great to meet and to talk to more Moon Knight fans. So, of course, Khonshu, yourself and Rebecca, a huge thank you. Look, this is in no particular order as well. I want a big shout out to, and to save on editing, I'm not going to put in the sound effects for some of these guys who have nicknames. Rick, the Rick Ball Special, Gentusa, big shout out to you, my good sir. Tommy Cavill, the man on the streets. Josh Johnson, Josh Geronimo Johnson. We have the power of Chad Jernigan, Dustin Coldcase Kurtz. We've got Noel Looney Tunes Tate. A big shout out to Orion Petty-Clerc, who's also the host of We Are Venomaniacs. A big thank you to Brian Warshaw for his help on the Khonshu's Idols, the review of the Mezco toy figure. Anthony Sitko, host of Capes on the Couch. A big thank you for him, chatting about film, Moon Knight on film, and chatting about his Moon Knight script, which was a blast. We've also got Wayne Hunt, Wayno, one of the hosts from Courtside Podcast, staff member of King's Comics, the best comic book store in the known universe. Big shout out to Wayne. He's jumped on it for a couple of episodes. Adam Barnhart, he's one of the hosts from Marvel News Desk podcast. He jumped on. We had a chat about a classic Moon Knight review, so it was great. Adam Ryan Daniels, most of you would probably know, fellow collective member, and I Am Your Target Demographic, the YouTube channel. Big thank you to Adam for jumping on the ITK serial. MK Midkind, one of our favourite loonies, all the way from the Philippines. He came on for an Isla Ra. Fantastic talk with him. I think it was over 3 hours. It was brilliant. Phil Me and Perich, the tireless host of Capes and Lunatics, again a fellow collective member. And then we have both Bushman and Moonmen, Dave Watkins and Bobby Lowndes. They're from the Moon Knight Core Facebook page. They jumped on for a review. Big shout out to you guys. I hope we get to see you again on the show. You were a blast. Huge shout out also to Corey Hardiman. Now Corey, Connor, we reviewed his comic Sister Mercy.
Lovely.
The first Loony created title. So big shout out to Corey, and he also did fantastic work on our serial, The Hunt for Khonshu's Golden Scepter. Also Natasha Rohrbacher, huge shout out to you for guest hosting, along with Dave Finn from The Signal, Blasting from the Swamp, and Caden Butera, who we had a good chat about with fan films and his own film, Moon Knight, which came out early this year, January, on his 21st birthday, I believe. So a huge shout out to all you loonies, and also every loony that actually has written in directly to the show or left feedback on our threads. So look, I've been having a blast interacting with the likes of James Young, CMK7. He's dropped in a lot of Jordan Hegarty as well. So a huge shout out to all you loonies. A huge thank you. And I just wanted to take this time for our last episode to recognise all your efforts, and to give you a huge thank you and Khonshu's blessing.
Likewise, thank you all.
Yeah,
very much.
Big clap. I might insert a clapping.
Uproarious applause.
So yeah, thank you. That was a bit, sorry Connor, that was a bit lengthy, but I really wanted to shout them
Necessary?
all out. Necessary, absolutely. Okay, Connor, we are getting to our spotlight now. So this is the first half of our reflections for this year. And Connor, Moon Knight this year, he had a pretty, I think, I would say successful.
I'd say very successful.
Yeah, I mean, there is a gaping hole in the fact that we're missing a title, a series, which I'm sure a lot of loonies would still be hankering for, but we weren't left totally ignored. So I've got a list here, Connor. Do you mind reading? This is from the Marvel website as to actually where Moon Knight appeared. This can also be known as a bit of a night watch. So anyone who wants to pick up where Moon Knight appeared this year in publication, this is what came from Marvel. So have you got that list there, Connor?
I sure do. I believe this is order from when it released during the year. This was the first appearance in the Doctor Strange Damnation event, which we did as our big crossover of the year. The Big Fat Moon Knight 200. The third Epic Collection that collects the last and complete of Mensch's original run. Epic Collection Volume 3, Final Rest. The second collection of Bemis's run, Moon Knight Legacy Volume 2. Then the Punisher Epic Collection, Kingpin Rules. I'm not sure what issues are in that.
Yeah, me too. We'll have to really double check. No, but he's just popped up in it. I'm not sure. It could be the annual
story.
Sorry, Connor.
Oh, maybe.
Could be
actually, no.
Yeah.
Marvel Comics Presents 4. Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe Again, which I thought came out earlier in the year.
Okay, yeah, but the trade, I think, apparently came out.
Of course.
But that was a fun one.
Yeah. God, that was actually.
Yeah.
His appearance in the Punisher 15, our very own Moon Knight Annual 1, and then Contagion issues 3, 4, and 5, and then now Serpent War just happening.
Yeah. So we've, two of those issues have been released. The third and fourth are coming very soon. So I think it is by the end of the year, or maybe in the first week of January. Serpent War should be wrapped up as well. But yeah, so those are all the comic books and trades and collections that Moon Knight appeared in. But Connor, we also have Moon Knight appearing in other guises as well.
That's some fantastic stuff. We'd have the massively successful and gorgeous Mezco 1/12 scale figure, both the White Knight and Crescent edition. That MK Diamond Select Premier statue. Do you own that now, Ray? Were you able
I
to
don't. I missed out on the first limited edition, but I am going to hopefully get this one. So it comes in at a pretty penny still. I think it retails Aussie dollars, I think, about $180, $200.
Yeah. Not bad. He was the downloadable character in the Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 game. The big announcement that our TV show is coming soon / now next year, sooner than we expected. And then Jeremy Slater got revealed as our showrunner.
Yeah.
To decent amount of fanfare.
Yeah. And that was I think that pretty much caps off all the Moon Knight things this year. Yeah, I mean, Jeremy Slater, I guess everyone's kind of madly looking at all his past projects, apart from probably Fantastic Four, and just to saying how he is. As we discussed as well, Connor, I've heard his Exorcist was really good, which was a cancelled TV show on Netflix, I believe, or something, or Amazon, or. But yeah, so obviously the big one is the Disney Plus, the TV show. So we're all waiting with bated breath on that, but we're also still waiting for a title series. Now, Connor, here I've got next up. So that's exactly what happened to Moon Knight this year. Now, if you cast your mind back to episode 100, where you, myself, Rebecca, and the power of Chad, we kind of ruminated as to where we thought. It was a bit broader. We thought, like, over the next 100 episodes of Into the Night, where would Moon Knight be? But I thought we'd truncate that now and see if any of our predictions came true by the end of this year. So we're on episode 127, so we're 27 episodes into the next 100. And I wanted to first... look, I'll play some snippets from our episode 100, Connor. So... look, the first prediction was made by Chad, and Chad said something like this: what you reckon would land? So, Chad, for you, can we put you up against a new series for Moon Knight? That's pretty realistic, isn't it?
I wouldn't say a new series. I am definitely saying that he's going to be part of something. Like a permanent cast of something.
Yes, thank you. That was from episode 100 all the way back in June this year. right in the middle of the year, and that was a prediction made by Chad. Connor, what did you think? Chad kind of got it right a little, yeah?
Yeah, in a different way than I think all of us were expecting, with varying opinions on the results. But between Serpent War and Contagion, not bad.
Not bad, yeah. He was kind of part of a team. The only thing letting down, I think Chad did say, like a regular ongoing team, so these being minis. But, on the ball there, Chad. We did get Moon Knight as a team player, and he was featured in that. Also, sorry, Connor, I just got to backtrack a bit. There is actually one more appearance of Moon Knight that Marvel published this year as well. It just reminded me. It was Avengers West Coast, the Epic Collection, Lost in Time Space.
Very nice.
Yeah, so that was the classic Al Milgrom, Steve Englehart run, because I just remember that because we reviewed that this year as well. So that was also released. I'll have to insert that into the show notes, but just a little reminder. So well done. So Chad, he was on the money there. Now, the second prediction, Connor, we had from yourself. So you get to listen to yourself, your past self, about 6 months ago. And this is what Connor had to say about Moon Knight. Connor, your prediction, were you looking at maybe you were talking about toy figures? Is there a prediction there?
I'm going to say Moon Knight gets a bigger character role in an upcoming cartoon, in a new slate of cartoons.
That'd be awesome.
Will be coming eventually.
Yes. Yes, that was Connor Shu. Connor, you're predicting it. That was a pretty ballsy prediction. We didn't really go too well in this one.
No, honestly, I think even outside of Moon Knight, I was shocked by how limited Marvel's animated scope seemed to be. Marvel Rising has been successful, and I've enjoyed that, but I think as a whole, they've kind of seemed to have distanced themselves away from that for a bit, which was a bit of a shock for myself, and then obviously a complete fail of a prediction. We got Ultimate Alliance, which is something, but none of us predicted that.
Yeah, none of us did, which was weird. I mean, because Moon Knight's quite popular in the game sphere, but we're still waiting on. J.M. DeMatteis did say in the interview back in episode 100 again that there is a Moon Knight appearance coming for the Spider-Man animated series that's currently going. I think it's in season 5 or 6 now. But I've had a check, and he hasn't popped up yet, so that might still be next year. We might be still way off. That might have been a huge scoop by J.M. DeMatteis. He's certainly given us a good heads up there. So nothing in the animated realm, unfortunately. And same, Connor, you mentioned, it's such a shame you heard it. There's that also news about the Offenders. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I was genuinely heartbroken by that. That looked to be a good time I was looking forward to.
Yeah. So obviously some changes in the guard with Jeff Loeb and Kevin Feige taking control over the creative input of the TV. Marvel TV is that's fallen on the wayside, but that's a shame. Hopefully we'll see a little bit more. The third one we have is from Rebecca. And she had this to say. Rebecca.
What do I think? In the next year and a half.
Yep. A year and a half or so. Yeah, next 100 episodes. By the time we get to episode 200, we'll reflect on all these.
Oh God.
Long way ahead. Yeah.
I think Moon Knight and a team. Go on, I'll put my money.
Moon Knight and team as well. Okay, lock you in, Eddie, for that one. Yes, that was Rebecca from our episode 100. Not too different from Chad's predictions, but wanting a team there, Connor. So Rebecca, again, I guess she's on the ball.
It was a good year for slowly introducing him back into a team, and then hopefully we might see him on the Avengers properly with Jason Aaron next year, hopefully.
Well, that's one of the big things, actually, earlier on in that episode that Chad wanted. That was another prediction he actually made as well. He wanted an ongoing series. Not prediction, maybe that's just his wish. Wanted an ongoing series with Jason Aaron, which we all kind of thought because all those breadcrumbs were dropped. We're just teased to no end with that. And finally, I had a little bit of a little play with this, a little bit of prediction. I thought I'd go outside the square a little. And here's what I had to say about what I thought Moon Knight would be doing over the course of the next year or so. I'm going to branch out a little here. Why not? Got nothing else to lose. I reckon an overhaul of Moon Knight, whether, again, the mantle of Moon Knight be taken by someone else, or there being maybe an ultimate universe or something of them. We get another depiction of Moon Knight, and actually excluding Arachnite because we know that that's coming. Yep. So that one wasn't too successful.
Got to give yourself some credit there. We were thinking far into the future, and something like that takes a bit more time than 27 episodes. That's true. And for this year, I mean, and again, as we've mentioned, there's a lot of things that happened to Moon Knight already this year that we could be, so grateful for. So, I don't know, we very much might see that later on. I like the way you think, Connor. Yeah, give it at least another 27, 23 episodes. Let's reach the 50 episode mark and maybe something will happen there. But, those were our predictions or our thoughts. Just a few other notes here. Kind of as mentioned before, so Chad did mention he wanted he foresaw a new title series by Jason Aaron. We haven't got that yet. We've got those minis, Serpent War and Contagion. And again, similar as a team member, he's a team member in Serpent War and Contagion as well. We were all wrong about the about Moon Knight in the games. He did indeed pop up, and one of the first downloadable packs or whatever. So he generated a lot of interest in our community there. Unfortunately, we talked about Funko Pop's toy figures. Nothing yet. I still see that on the horizon, Connor. I think once a TV show hits... Oh, for sure. Once the TV hits, we're golden.
Yeah, so... Kevin Feige did say the TV show will be ready by the end of 2020. So, depending on
it's also interesting, none of us foresaw a TV show in any way, or even a movie.
No, yeah, that's right. That's right. I got here in the notes. We all thought it was a long way out yet. We all thought that there's no way by 100 episodes, next 100 episodes, would be getting a show. Who would have known that? What was it? It's 4 months after we recorded episode 100, we got the announcement that Moon Knight was in a TV show. So that was a big win for all the Moonies there. We also did predict as well potential Easter eggs or references in other TV shows or movies. Connor, I think that will happen still next year. Not this year, but it will happen. I still strongly feel Winter Soldier, Falcon. That's the first cab off the ranks. There might be a reference there to Moon Knight. I think Kevin Feige will want to build this Disney Plus kind of universe with Marvel. Let's call it MCU.
I could definitely see that.
Yeah. So, not yet, but I think in the very close future. So look out for it. I think 2020 will have something Moon Knight referenced on film. That will be fantastic. Alrighty, well, my good man, why don't we take a short break?
Well, actually, before we go, sure. I have a question.
Yep.
That's kind of the hard facts of the matter, but how do you feel about Moon Knight this year? What have you enjoyed his roles this year? Have you found it?
Yeah. I think there was enough this year. Obviously, an ongoing series would be absolutely fantastic, and I'm not too worried about the TV show and stuff. The announcement was enough for me this year. Just to know that we're going to get one was a huge boon. But ongoing series is obviously something that a little lacking, but I thought that he was, in Marvel Comics Presents number 4, there was a nice, little story. The annual, he was in the public eye enough for me. I was quite happy with that, and in all the spheres as well, apart from the animation, as you mentioned, but in the toy figures, in the games. So, I was quite happy at the amount of exposure he got, although in Contagion, I was a little disappointed in how he was portrayed. It's kind of similar to Damnation. But yeah, I don't know, a bit hot and cold, kind of, I guess.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think, as far as comics go, I can really only think of Deadpool. I mean, it's the end of the Bemis run. I feel like that's kind of a carryover from the previous year, which we all enjoyed. And I think the annual was enjoyed, but I think the Comics Presents and actually surprisingly Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe again were the only 2 comic appearances I can say were really struck true for me as a Moon Knight fan. But I think as a general osmosis, Moon Knight as a character struck up from the most he ever has from irrelevancy since, I think, perhaps the Ellis run. Not only is he in a lot more comics, he's now in the public eye for TV. I think the boys over at Moon Knight Corps, whether they do or don't realize, has quite an effect on just how our characters portrayed. Even comical appearance online keeps a level of fandom and general interest going that you can only sort of see the benefits of in this social media age. But I think for a Moon Knight television show coming next year, I think we've set up the right targets to get the most out of that and to really see Moon Knight go forward.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of that depends on, I guess, how decent. I don't even say how good the show will be. If it comes out and it's solid enough, that would definitely do well for the character and the interest for the character as well. If you look at, unfortunately, the likes of the Inhumans with the TV show, that really took a kick in the guts because of the TV show. Sorry, I mean the characters. Marvel did kind of still inject them into comic books and titles and stuff, but you only have to look at what now is the death of Inhumans, and they're like totally gone now. So. And I do believe it's because of the decline in popularity, because it took such a hit with the similar with Iron Fist as well. He's lacking a title, although he has popped up in Contagion, not much in Contagion. But so hopefully if Moon Knight is portrayed in a decent light, then there'll be momentum built behind him, and things will just get bigger and better for him. So, we'll have to wait and see. Any other final thoughts, Connor, on Moon Knight?
I think we
2019?
Covered it well there.
Yeah. All right, well, Loonies, take a breather. We're going to have a little bit of a break, and when we come back, after hearing messages from some of our beloved collective members, we're just going to have a little discussion on our little podcast and how it's gone in the year. We'll be right back to wrap things up.
The swamp, more than merely a place. It is a churning, seething, bubbling bed of life, of which you are a part. Once you were a man, a chemist named Ted Salas, until one little experiment went somewhat awry. And you changed. The serum that was to have made you a super soldier, combined with the strange forces in the swamp, to make you over into this, a shambling, mindless mockery of your former humanity. The macabre Man-Thing.
Man-Thing was created in the early 1970s to capitalize on the growing monster craze, but under writer Steve Gerber it became something quite different. Experimental, surreal, and very, very weird. It was something I loved as a kid, but does it still hold up today, 4 decades after its initial publication? So join me, Paul Matthew Carr, as I attempt to make sense of this cult classic and analyze each issue, putting it in the context of the time it was written and comparing it to the standards of today. And maybe you too can come to love the world's second most famous swamp-based comic book character as much as I do. The Nexus of All Realities, a Man-Thing podcast, a twice-monthly dive into the bizarre.
I am Connor from the House of L.
And I am Ray from the House of Zod.
We are two of the many survivors of Krypton's destruction, and we have made our home in Australia, and dare I say, have become Australians, for better or worse. But we have also decided to read Superman comics, read Superman books, watch Superman shows, cartoons, movies, basically everything Superman, and from an Australian perspective as well. Whether you're a seasoned fan, like me,
or whether you are coming in fresh, wide-eyed and wanting to learn more like me, then this podcast is for you. Join us for our bi-weekly adventures available on all good podcast catchers.
So just search for Last Sons of Krypton, a Superman podcast. We'll be coming to you from Australia or some cosmic dimension, wherever we are that week.
Up, and away.
Yes, welcome back, Loony listeners. This is episode 127 of Into the Night, a Moon Knight podcast. You are with your High Priest of Khonshu, Ray and Khonshu, and we are here to just look at ITK, Connor, this year. We have come in leaps and bounds. We've tried new things. And look, one of the things I also wanted to inject here as well, before we get into the list of stuff, I really want to kick this off, Connor. You and I, we talked at the beginning of the year about posting up fan fiction articles and reviews. Do you remember that?
I sure do.
I think that's a fantastic idea, and that's something that we should really, promote for next year as well. I mean, this being the end of the year, we didn't get that many bites, but I don't think we should be dissuaded by that. And I think it's something definitely that we should do for next year. But having said that, we had a very busy year this year, Khonshu. So I don't know. These are what I thought were some of the benchmarks. Have you got that list there as well?
I sure do.
Yeah, let's go through them.
Well, hitting our big episode 100. Not bad for a small little podcast started in a group of 23 members all those years ago.
Yeah, true. Episode 100 was, for me, my personal favourite. It was a very proud milestone. We've got plenty of stuff to cover still, and we've got the TV show to come up with, so there's plenty of episodes ahead, but 100 is one of the first big milestones. We also had, in that episode 100, we had some interviews with some giants of the industry. So happy and honoured to have spoken to the likes of Doug Mensch, Greg Smallwood, James DeMatteis, and later on in the year, the power of Chad and Phil Perrich spoke to Cullen Bunn. So, Connor, we're starting to gain a bit of, legitimacy here by speaking to people directly linked to Moon Knight.
And then trying to challenge them on our own, apparently, as we launched our own serial, our own stories.
And another big boon, I think, this year was the hunt for Khonshu's Golden Scepter, which, Connor, you have featured in a few of the episodes already. I'm liking your arc. But this is a lot of fun. And again, this harks back to towards the top of the show. Huge thanks to all the loonies that took their time and effort and willingness to actually be part of it. And it's just so much fun. We're up to, as we close out this year, December gave us episode 7. That's available now. Check the show notes for links there, but that had Tommy the Man on the Streets, the likes of Corey and Adam as well. telling another tale from this corner of the Moon Knight universe. So a lot of fun there. Plenty to go ahead. I've got a few more written already, and I've got some big ideas. So can't wait to. Hopefully, it all depends on if Loonies are keen, because obviously need some actors and need some people who are willing to play in it. But very good indeed. Connor as well. We also were part of the Fantasy Comic League hosted by Brian Bradley. This was a fun thing, and it's still going.
Yeah, we're still chugging along. We've got a new and returning team of Loonies vying it out.
Connor, you did quite well in the first, but obviously it does take a bit of time to select your team and your draft. So, you had fun with it as well.
Oh, bloody oath. I look forward to maybe one day returning even.
Well,
pick up where I left off. A shattered legacy.
Also as well, we have Season 3 already in the bag for our ITK division, so that will be kicking off January next year, over the course of the next 4 months, so January till April. So that's an ongoing thing. We love being part of that. Also, I thought was really cool were more Isla Ra sessions. Connor really loved these, doing these things. So this year we had the likes of, we had John Harrison and Derek O'Neill from TV Podcast Industries. We had Noel Tate. We had MK Midkind, one of our favourite loonies. We had Chad, the power of Chad, given his, and I managed to give it a go as well. Connor, we definitely have to get you on there.
It's dangerous, but I'm ready. I'm ready.
Well, you are an encyclopedia of comics, so I think you'll have a very hard task, because you read so many diverse, titles and formats. I'd love to have you on in the hot seat for that one.
I look forward to it, because I think obviously try to make the new year just as big.
Yeah, for sure.
But also, not only did we have our Isla Ra, we had a bunch of bonus episodes. Like I mentioned earlier, big shout out to some of the boys taking over the podcast themselves. Our round table Robin,
yes,
with all the boys coming on talking Moon Knight without the priests.
Yeah, this was a fun. Was it like an experiment?
Successful experiment.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly. I think it was successful as well, and we'd very much like to continue this on in the new year as well. So basically, Loonies, if you haven't heard, go check it out as well. No high priests present. It's just a bunch of Loonies just shooting the breeze, coming from all disparate backgrounds as well. So I think we had Noel, Tommy, and Rick in one of them, and the other one we had Phil, Chad, and Josh. And it was fun. It was really fun to hear them just talk about what they liked, how they got into comics, what they thought about Moon Knight and other comic titles. It's definitely something that we will revisit next year. Another thing as well, which we're going to try and promote further, is our merchandise. So we released that this year as well under the TeePublic website. And we had some limited editions here. We got a couple of sales, hoping to grow this corner of our podcast, brand. Definitely, I don't know, worth doing. And later on, I've mentioned next year will be a big year, as we'll roll out a Patreon page, and there's scope there to actually include maybe prize giveaways or merchandise for patrons who are willing to support the show, with a bit of coin. So looking forward to growing this part of our podcast. Also, Connor, I guess crossovers. We had a little crossover this year with Phil, Capes and Lunatics, so I wanted to shout out that. That was in episode 103. There was a bit of a crossover, his Spider-Man podcast and Moon Knight. We covered, there was a Mark Spector Moon Knight arc, which had the symbiote Spider-Man, and Moon Knight facing off the Demogoblin. So that was a lot of fun. And I mean, I've been interacting with Phil and his shows like Quantum Zone many times this year. They're a bunch of really good blokes, and hope to have them more again next year as well.
Awesome. That was a big part of, like we said, of working with other people, and I guess we also had Get Vocal there to have our lovely faces on screen and all our guests being able to properly come together.
Yeah.
Probably get back in that a bit more.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've got a Discord server open as well. Get Vocal, I guess, is the next step where it had video, and we're able to actually simulcast live shows as well. So that's something new, something different. Look, it's a bit different. It's a bit different here because we're in Australia, so when we do a live recording, everyone, on the other side in the US might be asleep or something like that. But it is a fun thing to do, and again, that's something that we will look into and maybe flaunt a bit more next year with Get Vocal. There was talk of a Moon Knight and Batman debate by Phil.
Oh yeah, the glove was thrown.
Yeah, so that could be Get Vocal could be used quite well for that, I think. But anyway, we'll be doing that and other episodes on Get Vocal next year as well. Also as well, which was really, these are three I'm going to lump together, Moon and Stars. So we managed to actually do a lot more segments on Moon and Stars. I guess a lot more full moons kind of fell around the weekend. And full moons mean we do the Moon and Stars, which is Moon Knight on film. Now, obviously, we're waiting for the TV show, but I wanted to shout out episodes 94, 117, and 94 and 125, and 109, sorry. That's all over the place, of the Moon and Stars. And episode 94, we had Anthony Sitko, which I mentioned earlier. We spoke about his Moon Knight fan script, which was absolute blast. It was phenomenal to get to chat with someone who actually created a bit of fan fiction for Moon Knight. Also, in episode 109, we've got the boys over at YTMCU. These guys are still crafting and honing their abilities for a Moon Knight film. It was really great to talk to Dalton and to Alex about his Moon Knight film, and I believe they're going to release soon a Secret Avengers fan film. Includes...
Yeah, I think they've also got big plans in the new year.
Yeah, so keep a close eye on them if you do love your fan films. And of course, one of the later ones, episode 125, spoke to Caden Batera on quite a divisive fan film, Moon Knight's look in that one, wearing the black.
Oh yeah, I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Up the ponytails, that's all I'll say.
I thought it was great. I thought the way it was put together was very tight, very professional. So it was a real blast to speak to those peeps as well. Yeah.
Then we had some other great bonus episodes with Moon Knight Cool. We had Bushman and Moonman on at episode 117. Absolutely, just stellar bunch of boys. We're rocking the internet comic scene. Like I said, we'll hope to have them on many times more.
Oh, absolutely. And these were a couple of guys, a good example we used to Get Vocal on. So it was good to actually see them, put a name to a face to a name. Although Bobby, he was, his face was, what's the word? Not blurred. It was covered.
Censored?
Censored. But no, a great bunch of blokes. One English guy, an American dude. Great fun to talk to. I was quite apologetic to them on that episode because we reviewed an arc of Marvel Comics Presents. It was a terrible arc of Moon Knight, written by Chuck Dixon. Of all people, it was a terrible two-parter. So best left behind, I'd say. Also, as well, not directly, we didn't create this, but I wanted to give a shout-out because they supply the fantastic music to our show, Deleta. They released The Other Void, and I had a good chat with Noel in a bonus episode about the EP and about each and every song, and behind the scenes for each of the songs as well. So that was a huge. I love that, and to me, I know it's not the official kind of Marvel, Moon Knight music, but just to be able to talk about an album that is specifically based on Moon Knight in an unofficial capacity was just brilliant. So yeah, huge thank you.
Oh yeah. They're filling a space that was completely left empty. Made it not only a fantastic album, but I think a shining. What would you say? I don't know. A shining addition to Moon Knight's canon that has never been filled.
Yeah, I'm very interested to hear, Connor, the music on the Moon Knight TV show. Will it be like the Netflix shows, quite kind of soundtrack composer, or will it be more, I don't know, contemporary or just contemporary songs that they use? It'd be very interesting to see kind of what angle they play with Moon Knight.
I look forward to it. I hope they just go all out with a fantastic score.
Yeah, I'll definitely be buying that one for sure. And finally, Connor, I guess the big milestones for our podcast, and to wrap it up on these reflections for this year. Look, we cracked over 1,000 group members on our Facebook group, and that was, I can't believe that. As you mentioned, Connor, we started with 23. It's just weird, and very, gratifying to know that we've got, I think, 1,200 at the moment. So that was pretty cool. And we recently reached 500 followers on Twitter. So another little milestone there. Pretty happy with. But things are chugging along well, Connor.
Oh yeah, I think we only get bigger by the day. And that's, we always talk about this holy grail of a TV show or movie, but yeah. I think the group we've got right now is bloody good enough. Just a bunch of hardcore new fans.
Yeah.
Come to check out what's going on with Mooney.
And they all know about Moon Knight as well. They all bring something, which is really cool. You can learn a lot from each other in the community as well. So that's another big plus, which I love about interacting with everyone on there, and in the Loony bin, and in the comment section and feedback. So yeah, I mean that was our year, and we've got, as I mentioned, a couple of big things next year. The big Patreon page, which I think we'll start plugging, our first episode next year. We'll be really kind of driving that. Hopefully, we'll see how it goes. No expectations. It's just kind of testing the water. And the other thing we mentioned in previous episodes, will be writing reviews now of Moon Knight on the Painted Monks Library website. So they've got a dedicated Moon Knight section, and we'll be doing, I believe, it's the all 395 appearances of Moon Knight. We'll be releasing a review, review once a week. So it's kind of nice complimentary material to go with our podcast, Connor, because we are doing the reviews, and that's, we're drawing the reviews out quite slow, but we're trying to get through all the Moon Knight canon. And these reviews on the website will do exactly the same thing. So those are the two big things at the moment for 2020. There's going to be heaps more. It's just, obviously the TV show, a lot more buzz with that. So, yeah, we'll see how we go. But anyway, before we finish up, Khonshu, I just want to end off this and the year with a few more bits of Mooney missives. So a huge thank you again to all the Loonies that have written in, that have interacted and shared their thoughts and given some feedback. Connor, have you got your list here?
I sure do.
The majority, I guess, has just come from our YouTube channel. So yeah, how about we grab one each, eh?
All right. So episode 126, our most recent ones come from CMK7. Who drops a great show, guys. Why, thank you, first of all.
Thank you.
This issue in particular is the reason I don't get the fans that insist Moon Knight used to be not crazy. Moon Knight has at least been a little unhinged from the start, and this issue he goes straight off the deep end. And I agree from interviews I've heard, I don't think Mensch himself remembers what his intentions for Moon Knight were back then.
Yeah, thank you, CMK7. This is in reference to Moon Knight, Volume 1, Issue 10, which Noel and I reviewed. which had Bushman and Midnight Man, had Moon Knight. It had that one kind of we thought we reviewed this before, where the statue of Khonshu was destroyed and Moon Knight goes a bit crazy. Yeah, that was that issue. But thank you, CMK7. CMK7, our favourite Loony bot. I know he's a real person, but I just love his name. Anyway, he leaves some remarks as well on episode 124, which was the episode that Dave Finn guested on, and we reviewed Serpent War issue 1. So CMK7 said, another terrific episode, guys. Dave was an absolute blast on the show. I'm sure Dave will enjoy hearing that. I haven't gotten Serpent War yet. I'm feeling a little jaded by Moon Knight's appearances lately, as in Contagion and Damnation, where Moon Knight is just kind of there, just appearing like a cardboard cutout. Oh, you and me both there, CMK7. From what I've heard in various reviews, I haven't been convinced to pick it up as of yet. Well, I don't know yet. I mean, Connor, you didn't seem too bedazzled by it.
No, I certainly wasn't.
No. Worth getting as a trade or digital or something just to bypass altogether?
I think go into it more as a fan of Conan and Solomon Kane than you would Moon Knight and just enjoy the ride, I think.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, CMK7, I'm not sure if you are a Robert E. Howard fan or not. It's certainly got me interested in those characters. I've picked up on my Kindle the Robert E. Howard Ultimate Collection. So all these prose of Conan, Solomon Kane, James Allison, all the characters that you see in Serpent War. So if anything, this comic series has succeeded in that, in getting fans interested in other characters. So, yeah.
And the Vanessa Del Rey segments are amazing.
They are, aren't they? Yeah, very dreamlike. Very good indeed. Look, just a little one here, Connor, before I give you the other one. Just a bravo from Sister Mercy on episode 126. So I think that was to do with the serial, which we released on episode 126, which was part 7 of the Hunt for Khonshu's Golden Scepter. Corey, a.k.a. Sister Mercy, was part of it. He did a very good job. Connor, I'm not sure if you listened to it yet, but very seedy sounding. Corey, I think I can say that. And the final bit of feedback here, Connor?
Our very last one is from Jordan Hegarty, who's dropped in a line before, and we love him for it. He said on episode 124, another one with Dave, getting all the love, seems like everyone missed Conan Serpent War 0. I think if The Valley of the Worm had been read first, he wouldn't have made the idea about adding Robert E. Howard into the story. It doesn't make sense removing the narrating character to add the literal author into the plot. That's no longer an Easter egg, that would be convoluted. He also adds, yeah, I'm on the fence, but enjoying it so far, but enjoying myself. I think Khonshu looked good in issue 1, and MK got some fun highlight moments in issue 2. I like how Khonshu's blessing is to put Mark directly into danger, and the way he takes out the sailors is loony, but a great idea. Just loony enough. If the story can wrap up nicely with a unique climax, I think I'll be happy with this miniseries.
Yeah, thank you, Jordan. Made me very interested actually to read Serpent War 0, which was released as a True Believers, which was an old issue. The Valley of the Worm, which was one of the only, I think, the few completed stories by Robert E. Howard of James Allison, who we see is the narrator of Serpent War. And as Jordan says, because Dave, Connor, just to put a bit of context, he said, it would have been a better idea not have James Allison as a narrator, but you have the actual author, Robert E. Howard, as the avatar and the narrator for the whole story. It's kind of a bit metaphysical in that sense. But Jordan has countered that by neither Dave or myself had read The Valley of the Worm, so interesting to see what that will reveal and probably give a greater context for James Allison as a narrator. Yeah, well, anyway, Loonies, that will wrap it, Connor, for this year. A huge thank you once again. It's been a big year, both for the podcast and outside of the podcast. But things are looking good.
Yeah, I think this episode has just proven we've done pretty all right this year.
Yeah, as well. Also, as well, I mean, Connor, as well. Final things, I guess, for this year as well. You've branched out as well. You've got we've plugged it previously as well. Another podcast, Wine Mums podcast, which has been going strong as well. I saw you tweeted you guys are kind of banking some episodes up.
Yeah, one of which includes the lovely Rebecca. Actually,
nice one. Yeah.
So we'll be, looking forward to that. If that insanity is, I mean, that's a particular brand here with Moon Knight, but a different kind of insanity. Then we'd appreciate your listens. But I know I'm not the only one who's branched out this year.
Yeah, that's true. So,
or were you even going last year? I don't.
I think no, we
complicated.
We did it last year as well. But it is kind of relatively new. The Last Sons of Krypton, the Superman podcast. Look, I can't say I'm any more of a Superman fan or any less of one so far. I'm still on that journey. I do know a bit more about him, obviously, having done the podcast. But I leave all the heavy lifting to my other co-host, Connor, who's a massive Superman fan. But yeah, quite enjoyable. And if you guys, if you're keen on something other than Marvel, other than street level, go check out Last Sons of Krypton. The episodes certainly are hearty, to say the least. They're big episodes. Connor has a lot to say, and you know me, I like to ramble, so a lot of stuff to get through there. But anyway, a huge thank you again to Loonies. Wishing you all the best. Enjoy New Year's Eve and all the celebrations. Enjoy your family, your friends as well. Stay responsible, but also, party hard. So next phase, look, Connor will be taking a break next week. Just keep your eye out for any notifications. Week off, maybe 2 weeks off. I'm just going to use that to do some writing. I've got some killer ideas for our serial. I just want to get down on pen, and I've got all these reviews that I really want to get ahead of for our reviews for Painted Monk Library next year. So yeah, we'll be taking a short hiatus, but as Connor mentioned, you can catch Connor on Wine Mums podcast and myself on Last Sons of Krypton Superman podcast. Anything else, Connor, that you'd like to add?
No, I think that's good. I just once again thank you all for your continued support throughout the year. We hope you guys are having a fantastic holiday season. And I don't know, keep up with the collective as well.
Yes.
We got some lovely boys here throughout the year.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't know.
Exactly. And yes, so again, finally, the collective, we're part of a network. Go check them out. There's a whole band of them, the likes of Adelan Rising and Inhumans podcast, Signal of Doom, a comic book podcast, or Sons of the Dragon, an Immortal Iron Fist podcast. There's about 15 of them or so. We all love to talk about either character-based or pop culture stuff. The link's in the show notes there for us. And finally, Connor, where can Loonies find us if they want to drop us a line? We always love to hear from them.
We always love that. We are most places at Into the Night or ITK Moon Knight. ITK Moon Knight on Twitter, Into the Night on Facebook or /group/ ITK Moon Knight. We are on the Instagram. We have links to our Discord, our Messenger group, all in the group as well. Email us, itkmoonnight@gmail.com, and find us on our podcast catches where, if you feel so inclined, an iTunes rating, preferably a 5-star review, or just however you feel, always goes a long way into getting us in front of new listeners.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, have a good one, everyone. We'll see you on the other side of the new year. And as always, may Khonshu watch over the denizens of the night. Catch you later.
Moon Knight and affiliated characters, stories and events are properties of Marvel Characters Incorporated. Materials used and discussed within the podcast are intended for critique and review purposes only under the fair dealing concept of the current Copyright Act. The views, information, or opinions expressed during the podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of the copyright owners.